Let's have a go. Yes, and it is a Setons. It is a Setons clutch, and it is went for some lower rated players this time around. Just wanted to, we always do lots of pros, and everybody likes the pro action, but the Joes and noobs, they deserve a bit of love as well at times. So let's have a gander. We've got Team 1 here at the top, we've got Team 2 down here at the bottom. The average team rating favours Team 2. We do have the highest and lowest rated player on Team 1, but anyway, let's say hello to the players. First off, in the front position for team number 1, it is Neon Ghost. I'm going to ignore the X's in his name because they're just silly. Anyway, he's Seraphim, he's white, and he's already stomping his way towards the mid to grab that tasty reclaim that everybody likes. On the beach navy position, it is Acostus, and Acostus is Siren, Acostus is orange, and Acostus is building power generators for some unknown reason because he's a Hydra right there. Anyway, navy, rock, cliff position, whichever you want to call it. It is Spicy Man, and Spicy Man is the lowest rated player in the game at 300. He's yellow, he's Cybran, and he's doing a similar thing, although the Hydra is a little bit further away from him, so it's worth building a couple of pigeons out there. And to finish off for team number 1, right at the back end, the highest rated player in the game, it is RX4 Gun. Anyway, he is Seraphim, and he is in Lavender. So there we go. Let's have an introduction to team number 2. Down here in the front position, it is TCA Williams. He's grey, he's UEF, and he is not walking to the front, which is going to give his opponent a whole lot of time to get some extra mass. Look at that, he's way back here. Not a good sign. Anyway, Navy, Beach, Fantasy 404. Fantasy not found. Anyway, he is Seraphim, and he is light blue, already building a naval factory. He's not even going to try and make a play for the side island. He's going straight into Navy, and maybe he's looking for an early rush on that, checking out the Navy cliff position, and it is Nutty's. Nutty S is UEF red, and building up his base there, getting a bit of reclaim going on. And is that guy going out for Navy already? Yes, he is. Straight there to build a factory. Good on him. And anyhow, finally for team number 2, sitting at the back air slot, it is Buck and Chuck. And Buck and Chuck is Aeon, Buck and Chuck is Burgundy. So just have a look at the teams. Is very evenly rated between team number 2. Got a couple of 800s, couple of 900s, couldn't be much closer. But for team number 1, the numbers are way different. They range from 300 to 1100. I've tried to balance it probably as good as I can get, and we do 75% balance. So there's obviously some of these guys have very low, maybe the 300 has very low amount of game rating. Could have made it maybe a bit closer actually. Could have given maybe swapped the 800 with the 700 to team 1. Might have evened those scores up a wee bit, but that's okay. They're still on 75. They were happy and they played. And let's see how we're going to get on. And look at this. What on earth? Neon Ghost has had time to walk his commander all the way up to the front, and instead of going straight for the reclaim, he's built a goddamn factory. What? Get your reclaim. Your comms right there. Do it. Reclaim. Go. Now. Reclaim. Reclaim. Go. Go. Reclaim. Reclaim. Go. Yeah. And that might be costly in regards to time. We have a Scar coming out from Fantasy 404. That's an interesting little bit choice. But, popping out the engineers and want to start getting reclaim for their manual reclaim it, please. They're going for the trees. You don't want the trees. Stepping down radar, let's see what's going on. And, well, what's going on is the scout is going to get past and kill your NG. Will the commander get back in time to save him? I think not. The timing of that micro was amazing. But the distraction has worked, and now Neon Ghost has got, despite getting up front so much earlier than his opponent, he's missing out on the reclaim because TCA is grabbing it all. That's just unlucky. Like I said, strange. It will mean you can get reinforcements up front real quick and get some engineers out and start slurping up that massive right away. But and of course other reinforcements are, get some tanks coming on, but he wants to move this guy, get him on manual reclaim. Stop getting trees. Get yourself some of the mass. Or is he stalling on power? Shouldn't be. He's got a bunch of PGs up here. He's got a out there. He is upgrading mixes as we go, so not doing awful. And now he can actually use his, with the engineer out, he can actually use his commander a bit to, if he decides to not scoop mass, he could have a go at the enemy commander. Maybe doesn't want to keep the units in range, so that's fine. But it looks like there indeed is a bit more of a, don't know if it's men of reclaim or not. Either way, both the comms are going for that Rick up there, or the NGs are grabbing the Ricks down there. A much larger contingent of units coming from TCA, and they're going to shoo this Tham away quite happily. Rushed up T1 PD. I don't know if that is going to actually complete. That's a lot of tanks coming through, and those are some engineers that are quite vulnerable at this stage. And they're about to go down all dead. That's a roaming 7 tanks passing on through. Trying to finish off the PD. Needs a bit of assistance on that. I don't know if it's going to happen. There are a couple of tanks shooting at it, and the rest of them are happening to shoot that factory. That is about to complete, so on it goes and starts wailing around his tanks. However, TCA's decided, no, I don't like that. I'm going to have a go at it with my comm as well. And the point defense does take out a number of the enemy tanks. And then there's a Zui and another Tham back here. That'll help finish off the numbers. Some reinforcements way back here for TCA. They're a bit far back, and it's now comm action in the middle. But the reinforcements are coming out from Neon much more. And the extra damage is going to be enough to help even up the health. Especially when it stands still and just takes those to the face. Alright, I feel like they're distracted. Ooh boy. Here come the reinforcements for TCA, and Neon has to be a wee bit careful there. Does not want to get caught in the middle of that on low health, because he will lose a lot of it. And we see that early naval pressure coming out from Mr. Fantasy 404 is paying off. There's a naval factory here that was getting built, but the engineer has died. It's not even producing anything, it's just slowly dying to submarines. And up here down into the red is Neon. He's going to need to get into the water, and I can't help but think, if TCA had brought these units over and shot at Neon as well, he would have been dead. There are plenty of units, and they would absolutely have taken him out. So I think that might have been a missed opportunity. Neon well onto the red, under 2,000, about 1,500 it was. And these guys could have added the extra pressure and killed him off. But that's going to leave TCA in the mid all by himself, and he can pick up all of this reclaim, which is exactly what he starts doing. Good. These guys are focusing down on trying to kill... Excuse me, hiccups. But they're focusing on trying to kill off these factories. This is why you throw in a... just an Ardy or two. A couple of tier 1 Ardys and these factories would have been dead a lot quicker. Having said that, these tanks, there's so many of them, they're doing a bang up job of killing everything. And right now, I don't think more factories is the answer. Might want to get some tier 1 PD. This is all tanks, not a single arty in the middle of all that, so these guys would be quite susceptible to tier 1 point defense. T2 slowly on the way for Neon, as long as he's not aggroed by any subs. But we see there's a single factory here for Nussie, and that could be a problem, because there's a single factory with a lot more build power on it though, so Acostus is going hard into the navy, and neither player has actually made it. Oh, there we go. I was about to say, nobody's gone for the side island, but I take that back. Old Fantasy is doing exactly that. And right here, these units are ready to rip on past. Up goes a radar, followed by a tier 1 point defense, which is going to be incredibly useful against all these tanks, as long as they can get it up in time. But still on the way there. And while we see that Spicy has been locked out of Navy, we're about to see the same over here. Perhaps this is Nasi, and he's got problems. He might be about to be locked out of Navy as well, so it could be the beach players doing better. And the point defense has done, and it is starting to get some kills, do some work, kill those tanks off. Engineers trying to pop up another tier 1 PD, but it's not really working. And look at that, 6 kills for this guy. Was well worth keeping things like this all away. Single striker back here has been, I was going to say ignored, but of course another Tham rolls off the line and kills him. More kills for the tier 1 PD. Another one back here, so a bunch of tier 1 PD in the base, and that is going to help hold, but it is still a problem. Where you see Neon is in the water with this comm, can't really help out there, and he's been pushed right the way back into his base, and those are some nothers. maybe just flying around defensively, but they are there nonetheless. T2 is almost completed for Neon as well. He'll get some health out of that. Maybe he'll be feeling a bit healthier about coming out. Maybe he'll just slip towards the edge and try to step down the point defense or two. But yep, there we go. Out of the water is Nutty, and ages ago out of the water is Spicy, building naval factories in the little wee pond back here. Why not, I guess. We got Cybran. He can make those T2 and Kazar snapping out some Salems, and they can go for wander overland and come reinforce there. Nothers finding themselves a little wee frigate. He's going to have a terrible time against them. Right, gun upgrade was on the way for Neon, but he has paused that. Sent 101 units to Spicy Man. What? Whoopsie! Oh, big whoopsie. You see there, RX is like, hey, whoops, can I have those back? Like, you know, right now, please. Oh my word. It would be absolutely awful if he cancelled that upgrade. 40% would be a waste, but that is putting him right behind. He needs that stuff back. Nutty says, I don't think I'm winning water. Well, you can't win what you're not in. And there we go, Neon with gun and T2 upgrade pops back out of the water. He can actually start popping down a little firebase to be quite careful. Nothers are here. Nothers are on the move somewhere. Things are out. The Nothers have been seen. So somebody's making a call on them. And TCA, what's he doing? Well, he's popping out. He's got a T2 land factory. So he's looking to get some tech down on front, and with those Nothers coming in, I think flak would be a great idea. They'd be lining for his commander. They are indeed. He's actually not very healthy. He's... Ooh, they turn away. But now he's been spotted. We'll see them come back in. He's still damaged from his fight in the mid, and 5 Nother bombs are going to give you a real big headache. Ooh, 300 health. I do not see him getting out of this. He's just... yeah. He's dead. 5 Nothers, no air around. How's the response? Well, no response. No air from either of these side players, and those Nothers are going to... Ooh, under the shield might be helpful though. To dodge, keep dodging. Gets out of the way of the one bird. Final 6. Boom. Down goes TCA. Managed to get some dodging going on, got himself under a shield, but really needed to get some flak out there as soon as he could. Unfortunately, no air anywhere else to keep him alive, and full shear is on, so all of this now goes to, well, actually it goes to Buck and Chuck back here, and Buckin is there. He's got T3, so T3 air is on the way. He is ahead of RX. Got a single ACF out, and he's starting to build his T3 Pigeon, so it looks kind of even despite the fact that RX has popped out a bunch of Nothers, using up some build power there. Alright, where are the Nothers going for this time? That is the question. We're going to see them swing around and discover Nutty sitting here on an upgrade, just waiting for Nothers to the face. Kind of loitering at the moment, just trying to find a target, and there is an ASF floating around waiting. Here they go, here comes the bombing run, and the question is, how much health has Nutty got, and how much AA has Nutty got around? Well, he's got... oh no, they take out the anti-air first, and I'm surprised this one didn't fire at that guy. But Nutty sitting still on his comm, and where's that ASF? There was one loitering around somewhere. Here it is. It needs to get over here as soon as possible to help keep Nutty alive, and I'm surprised that AA gun wasn't shooting at things. But now the commander is under attack, and where is the air? Nutty, having to cancel his T2 upgrade, needs to get dodging, needs to get moving, start doing the bomber dance, which is to, dodge around, swing and swerve. No, don't walk in a straight line. Don't walk in a straight line. Terrible idea. Where's the air? There's a bit of a dodgy dancey dodge, and that is some good avoiding there. Takes another bomb. I think he needs 2 more to die now, but the ASF turn up, and the question is, will they be enough? Looks like they have changed targets, killing off some engineers. Might not be the best plan. They probably could have killed Nutty had they gone from straight away. He was standing still on an upgrade, and he's very close to dying here. 1 more bomb, 260 health. Will it be intercepted? Yes, it will. So Nutty's getting out of there by the skin of his teeth. I feel like Nutty was very lucky. Had those Nothers just gone straight for him instead of bothering to kill all the other stuff like the anti-air, the engineers and all that kind of thing, they could have got him in like 2 or 3 passes. And now T1 bombs coming in, and there is some T1 AA. Gonna take out a few of them, but you're gonna have to keep dodging there, buddy. ASF are coming back, and they should be able to wipe out those quick, smart. Keep dodging, Nutty. Very, very fortunate man. Right, ASF have been handed over from old Buckin, so he's like, yep, no, all yours. You look after you. I've got my own things to worry about in the form of up here. Now, so Restorer. So got myself out a couple of Restorers. They'll be really good at knocking out all this T1 spam rolling on through. But up here, this is not great for Nutty. T2HQ here is under attack from a cruiser just sitting off the coast and having a go at things. Not going to last too much longer at this rate. And Nutty just keeps on walking away. Alright, see those gunships having a grand old time against those ground units. They can't shoot back, they've got nothing to shoot back with. There's no flak, there's no T1AA. There is some flak back here sitting around Neon, so he is concerned about air having to go to his comm, and that will be all she wrote there. In comes some ASF from RX4. So RX is into the T3 air game as well. And he's got a couple of ASF working their way through all of these guys slowly. More Restorers. Now, of course, Restorers are no slouch when it comes to the anti-air game. They are quite tough. They have decent anti-air capabilities. What they are good at is landing on the ground when there are destroyers nearby. This is an awful idea. Back up they go. Okay. Alright, this T2HQ did die in the end, and this one, nope, the mix is under attack. Just a few stray shots are flying on over. Not actually hitting anything, just sort of missing and carrying on to the general direction of away. And here we see these Restorers. That's a good number, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Restorers. If they grouped up, they would be quite difficult to handle, but they can get over here and cause a ton of damage. How's your anti-air, Mr. Spicy? Non-existent? These grouped up, I think they could kill Spicy. But there we go. Here we go. So here's something we mentioned about the... yes, he got knocked out of the pond, but he can build some extra... being Cyprian, of course. He can build some extra naval factories over this way and start rolling Setons off the line, and they can look at up and going for a wander over the water. Here we go. So have a look. Very tough and not bad anti-air either. Actually shredding those ASFs, got a whole bunch of drawn down already. And RX4 decides I'm not going to try and contend with that just now. I'm going to fall back some, try and get some more numbers in the mid. Really annoying destroyers walking all over the land. Another couple of Restorers are here. They could go have a go at them quite easily. It might take a while to chip through them considering they don't have a lot of ground DPS. These guys here, what have they run into? Looks like they have run into some more ASFs. And well, not doing an awful job, but they're surviving long enough. And slowly the numbers are getting whittling down, but they have killed a lot more than they've lost. Of course, they're a lot more expensive as well in terms of mass and energy. But honestly, they made a mess of these ASF. looks like they actually got pulled back, maybe to be retasked to take out that destroyer. Lone ACF thinks I can take these guys on. Lone ACF is incredibly wrong. It cannot take on a bunch of restorers. Ready in the pond. This is the Acosta game up the top here. Might as well stop making T2. Take a pause, upgrade your eco, like all of it. He has no T2 power of his own. He has all T2 mixes. Actually, I'll take back this some T2 power, but he really should just skip the course here. Get out some more build power, get some more actual power, throw up some T3, and upgrade his mass extractors. Now he would be in business. I'm hearing Gorshivers. Having to go to Striker. Striker giving some back, but 2 versus 1, never going to work. And pops out Navy in the water. And that looks like that was the attempt from Neon to get into the Navy game, because Navy off the starboard bow, but a nice little attack missile from random cruiser kills off a few engines there, but doesn't finish off the naval factory, which is going T2, so not a bad idea. Does want to try and get into the Navy game, because that's going to be a problem for him if he lets it build up, especially cruisers. They can just sit at extreme range and lob their missiles over. And takes a lot of TMD to defeat cruiser spam if they really get going. If Fantasy down here just focused on doing nothing but cruisers, although he's doing it's a T3 upgrade, because hey, why not? Cruisers coming off of these, and there we go. Cruisers rocking off the T2 and almost T3 on their factory there. He is working on his eco. We see these mass extractors are getting capped. We've got a T1 extractor over there, so let's see how that goes in the long run. The more cruisers down here, the more missiles that come over, and the more TMD you're going to need, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. Battleship is just having fun against some pillars. Yeah, I think we might see this guy die. Sitting up front, saying hello, getting pillar fire to the face. If he can dodge some, he might be okay. Or if that guy can soak a shot or two, he'd be right. Cruiser fire on the midsection, and we have, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 9. 9 TMD. Gee, well, he's living up. He's got 3 T2 power generators, but he's upgrading to an Omni there, so he's definitely going to want some more power, especially trying to run those shields. And we can see back here more Setons coming out. So Spicy Man has his commander safe in the water. He has a bunch of naval factories here building up Salem's. I imagine once he gets a critical mass, he will move them into the water. So a neat little idea. Only works here for Cybran. But you get knocked out of the Navy, just build a Navy back here. Why not? Why not indeed? Alright, and speaking of destroyers walking on land, how about these guys? They're coming for a wander, and they are coming for your booty. Nussy still hasn't really recovered from the early air attack on him. Still low on just over 4,000 health. Won't take long to die to those. They get in range. Wants to consider evacing. Doesn't really stay there. So midsection is holding. There's enough TMD at the moment to stop all these cruisers. When I say all these cruisers, it's like all 2 of them. There are a couple more coming, and we see a T3 NG out. That is a battleship though, and of course the battleship will be bad news. TMD does not stop battleships. Up in come the restorers, and just look at the health just drop. Just gets absolutely drained by these things. More coming, and now we're going to see massive health loss for those Salem's. Dying horrible death, and that's actually a good engage by Buck and Chuck using the restorers as base, which of course have their own anti-air. Brings in his ACFs to help thin numbers, and that is a good little air win. Now Buck and Chuck should hold the air game, so he'll be free to run these restorers around wherever he wants and start taking things out. Section looking, well, might need a bit more on there, because that's a sizable force coming in, although it is a mix of T1 and T2, mostly T1 with a Battleship spattered around through, maybe half a dozen or so, and this is a solid amount of T2 units, though not quite as much. They sit still though, they might find themselves, oh, there we go, Navy on Navy, and one destroyer versus 2, plus frigates, plus subs. It's not going to go well for the one. Alright, those tech missiles are coming on in, and while there's an attempt from one of these TMD to try and stop things, nothing's going to happen there, and that will be the HQ down. Another destroyer comes out, promptly gets shot. Well, actually, health just dribble off that thing. Might get himself killed. No, it won't. Never mind. Take that back. That was a horrible death. Goodbye, destroyer. Island over here, firmly in the grasp of fantasy, and as is this one over here in the grasp of the other beach player, and that is T3 out for Acostas, and there's a battleship as well as an aircraft carrier. The aircraft carrier is nice and good. They build air pretty fast. They also repair friendly aircraft, so bit of a staging area for these guys to use. Alright, we have this swarm of restorers. Honestly, that's quite a lot of them. Are a nasty bunch. However, speaking of nasty bunches of things, we have air coming in from RX4, and that's a terrible place to engage, right over the flak of these cruisers. They're going to be taking a lot of extra damage from that, and yeah, run away. That is going to be your best bet, that the ASFs from Buchan don't chase, and that might actually leave these restorers a wee bit vulnerable. Having said that, they do take the ASFs out of the great rate loss, but there's a lot of them, and well, I don't think the restorers have AoE. I think they're direct fire, and they're pretty much all dead. The ASFs do come over from Buck and Chuck, so he wants to try and keep some of these alive. Does a slightly strange turn, but the restorers have been shooed away for now from Buck and Chuck, and that leaves the ACF up here, and they are looking like they'll win that game. Their mark rate a bit better, they could win. If they mark it worse, they'll definitely lose. If restorers come back in, that will have balanced numbers, bit of extra firepower, bit of extra damage, and that could be it, although another wave comes in, and still looking pretty even in the air, except for these restorers, which will really, I think, be the difference. Not only will they just direct fire from the ASFs, they also got their own anti-air, and we can see that this stage I would put air in the hands of, well, he could have finished those off with his own air wing, but decided not to, maybe because all of this was coming in. And what on earth, how much build power does he have? Like he's got another wing turning up all day, every day. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the 5 air factories. Yeah, that's down here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another 4 planned. So really, it's looking like Buck and Chuck should be quite happily in the air game. I think now is probably the time to stop the restorers. They're taking a fair bit of power out of you, a fair bit of build power, and they are going for diminishing returns the more you leave them. The useless they'll become against larger and larger numbers of ASFs. Yes, they're tough, and yes, they can help tip the balance of an air fight, but when they're the only thing you're popping out, they're not so great. Better as a support. Let's just have a count on those actually. So we have 40 ASF for and 25 for Buck and Chuck. So RX is well ahead in the air game. Starting to look a wee bit more dangerous as time goes on. That T3 over here we mentioned is a battleship signing off, and yep, waltzing into range of aircraft carrier, or I should say the aircraft carrier is coming over to support the battleship, and it is now going to help take these things down. And not only that, the air wing from RX-4 comes in and mops up quite handily. Keeping his air over here, which I find a strange decision because there's cruisers in this mix, and it doesn't really matter what I try and flow to that. Although having said that, we have another T2 factory back here, so Neon is definitely trying his best to get back into the Navy game, wants to keep in touch with his opponent, and well, I say his opponent's dead. He wants to keep in touch and not have this kind of thing happen, which is exactly what's happening. And the TAC missiles are getting more in number. The destruction is coming. So he falls back some. Can't fathom it. Torpedo bombers! And they're having to go to frigate because there's a frigate sitting right there. It's not going to get a second run though. The air from RX-4 comes in and wipes those guys off the map permanently. Cruisers, battleship could easily clear this out. There's like no actual ground defense, just a couple of shields, some anti-air and an Omni. What have you been doing? Focus on the Navy, of course, silly me. Definitely wants to get that Navy. But that battleship, 62 kills, has been having fun wiping out this front base because, hey, why not? It's there, shoot it, kill it. And let's have a look at the kind of thing that goes on. So many units dead to this thing. And now comes the mid-push. Around about now, Buck and Chuck may realise there's nothing on the ground to stop a mid-push. This lot can just simply roll on in and kill everything. There is no ground defense, not even a single T1 PD. Nothing to stop these guys romping in and cleaning up the midsection. Yeah, there's a force up this way, but again, that's quite a bit of... Poor fella. That's pretty sweet. Rounds come in, the rounds land, explosions, dirt, debris scattering all over the place. As should happen from battleship fire. But that's basically going to be the front section. These units are all going to clean up what's here. There's a few anti-air defences, not anymore though. They're down, TMD is going to go down, and it's just going to be a reclaim spot for whoever can get engineers there, which I don't think is going to be team number 2 based on the fact that they're freaking battleship off the coast, lobbing the shells into these poor hapless T2 units. Mongoose takes around to the face and collapses. Turns into a wreck, then turns into a nothing. But battleships are mean like that. Alright, we mentioned, and the Salems have made their way into the water. More Salems coming as reinforcements, and maybe too many cruisers. This could be a problem. Only a couple of destroyers in this smoke. The rest are all cruisers, and cruisers are not that great against destroyers, of course. And this is all destroyers. So single battleship going to try and have a go at them. Cruisers are going to get absolutely mutilated by all of this. Bring these guys back, they're going to need it. And he's running... Ah, there. Caught napping, in comes the massive air wing from RX-4, and that's danger, Will Robinson, for those restorers getting wiped. This is when you should bring your air in while the ASFs are distracted by the destroyers. Instead, let them die one by one, and then your air wing comes in too late, doesn't even get in behind on the 6, and a terrible turn. That is a terrible turn from Buck, and looks like he was trying to lure them over the cruisers, but not the greatest idea. Hasn't worked. Right, RX-4 has been a wee bit too clever for that. And well, the battleship is holding its own for now. Managing to do a decent amount of damage. In come the long range shells, and splat goes the destroyer. But this is fun. These guys just sitting parked off the coast for a while now, just been wrecking whatever they can reach. And according to this battleship, it's just about to get its 100th kill. Here we go, is that 100 kills for him? Not yet. The salvo. No, not the salvo. Where are you shooting at? Stop changing your mind. There we go, 102 kills. So it breaks that magical 100 mark. And that battleship is having fun. Because there's literally nothing to stop it. Okay, how are we looking back here? Well, we've got T3 air up for Mr. Acostas. He doesn't even need to worry about ASFs, he can just go straight to bomber production. Because his teammate back here, Mr. RX4, has very large amounts of air. Let's have a quick check-in on that. 117 ASF. Compare that to Mr. Buckachuck, who has 55. So he basically has half the number of ASFs. That just simply isn't going to work. Alright, T3 bomber comes out, drops his payload on a T2 mix and kills it. Moves up this way and runs into 3, 4, 5, 6 cruisers. Gads. Ain't good for that guy. 6 cruisers. Wow, painful. Already down here, and we can see that every now and then some cruiser fire does actually connect with these guys, as well as some battleship fire. There are a couple of destroyers in here. Not enough to be a concern. Maybe. So a fun thing with Seraphim destroyers, when they're submerged, you can bring them back and get them at point blank where you want. You can pop them out, and then you can do some horrendous amounts of damage at close range. Or they can just simply submerge again and get away from things like this, which has no torpedoes. Neither do they. See, we've got a couple of T3 naval factories, and are those torpedo defense? Seems like a silly idea to try and build those whilst your factory is getting pummeled, but commit to that. And there we go. Oh, TMD, right? Because that's totally what they're shooting at you. Got a couple of destroyers and a couple of battleships, and that naval factory is not going to be long for this world. Alright, torpedo bombers are out there coming to say good day, and they are looking to thin out the numbers down here somewhat. Restorers again. Still just floating around. We're going to leave those guys, but oh dear. That is a lot of air, and that is going to be a problem. Bombs away. Corsairs away. And that is nutty. Absolutely smashed. Scrambles his own ACF to try and defend himself, but far too late. And he's out of the game, and more eco heads on over to Buck and Chuck. And don't tell me that's going to live. Single Revenant doing the circles. Is he going to drop a bomb off, or is he going to die to tier 1 AA? Well, the answer is bomb is away. Impacts on the shield though, nothing doing. SMD outside shield range, not a clever idea. You want that to protect your base, you want to protect the SMD. It's got 3 missiles in it. If we bombed that, if he sends in a couple of bombers and knocked that out, it would be so much resource wastage. Alright. And speaking of, are they going for it? No, they're not. They're going for the shield, so they're trying to go for Buck and Chuck. I'm guessing they don't actually have... Oh, heck and moly. That was a big hit, and there's a lot of bombers on the field still. I think Buck and Chuck is going to start having some issues. Tries to dodge, but nothing doing. And Buck and Chuck is out of the game as well. Strat work from RX4. And yeah, Buck and Chuck did have a wee bit hard time just trying to keep up with everything. I would like to say, I think down here Fantasy did good for his rounds. He managed to pretty much, well, he won his side of the Navy. He just faced no pressure from, pressure from two players. You had both Spicy and Neon pressing him on because there was nothing doing in the mid. And just let Neon get himself into the game section into the Navy game, and he was able to do good things from there. Down here, Fantasy 04 is saying he shall not waste time. I imagine we're about to see a control K. Any moment now. Any moment now. Maybe not. Oh, there we go. There we go. So that is Old Fantasy bowing out at the end of the game. He just probably realizes he's not going to make things from there, despite him having a lot of eco. In the end, it was just a bit much, and Team 1, I think, with the demise of Tack in the middle,